Yes, yes.
Oh,
Oh, I love being around people that know the things I grew up
live
with.
some things. It's great to be back here at E2D, having an opportunity to learn about some of the programming that's happening, some of the great work that's happening, and some of the great people who are doing the work. I'm Dr. John A. Oliver, Project Manager at Johnson C. Smith University for Charlotte's Inclusive Tech Innovation Pilot, which is a Connecting Minority Communities grant administered by NTIA, Department of Commerce. So we're great to be here, and I want to give a chance for our host and our guests at the same time to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about where we are, what we're doing, and what we're hoping to talk about today. Christy, welcome.
Yeah. So I'm Christy Cowen. I'm the Director of Impact and Engagement for E2D, which stands for Eliminate the Digital Divide. You are in one of our 3 labs that we have here in the Mecklenburg County area. This is in the Avid Exchange Music Factory area, and this space is actually sponsored by Avid Exchange. We also have a space in the south end of Charlotte that's sponsored by EY, and then we have a space up in Cornelius that we've always had. It's always been our headquarters. So we are a nonprofit here in Mecklenburg County. We've been working for 11 years doing laptop refurbishment. So we take in donations of laptops, we refurbish them in student-led labs, which is where we are, and we get them back out into the community at low cost or no cost. Most of our laptops are corporate donated, so we have a lot of corporate partners in this work, Lowe's being our number one, who have given us over 18,000 laptops in these past 11 years. And then we have other ones as well, Ally Bank, I could just go on, Truist, TIA, some great corporate sponsors that help us with this work. And then I personally, what my job is to work with our community to get these laptops out. And I do that by either working with individuals or I work with organizations to help them with cohorts that they might be working with on, let's say, financial literacy classes or digital literacy classes. And so we have distributed over 50,000 laptops into this community so far in 11 years, which is a huge feat. Our first year we distributed 150 laptops in that year, and now we're on course to distributing 10,000 laptops a year. So a lot of growth, and we are here for it.
Wow, you made this easy. It's like you answered all the questions that I was going to answer. So it's like you've done this before. So
I can speak a lot about E2D for sure.
So you mentioned some of the partners. So I know you have a long list. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want to get you into trouble for asking for more. And I also want to make sure the space is open for you to include some of the others that you know you definitely have to mention.
Well, so, partners for us are twofold. We have our corporate sponsors that help us financially, of course, but also help us with that laptop piece, which is really important. We cannot do the work unless we have those corporate laptop donations. We also accept donations of private laptops. Like, Dr. Olive, you could go and clean out your closet and bring me 5 laptops tomorrow, and I would thank you for it. But corporate tends to give us, 500 at a time, and so it just turns into like 500 of maybe the same model, and then the kids just put it on the line and get going, right? Get to work. But we also have our community partners, which are really important to us as well. I think last year we worked with over 130 different community partners throughout the year to help them get laptops, again, for cohorts of people that they're working with, groups that they are training on various things, maybe some workforce development, whatever they're doing. Latin American Coalition is one that's coming to mind for me. We've done a distribution at their location for East Charlotte. But they do workforce development with a lot of the people that they serve, and they come and get laptops from us for that. We started out in schools. That was kind of our thing in the very beginning, we still love to support schools through the Center for Digital Equity, which is another organization that we work closely with that is living in this digital equity space like we are. We just recently helped Hidden Valley Elementary School get some laptops to some of their families that they work with. So we're here for the people. We love it.
So tell us about the refurbishing process from intake to distribution. What is it like?
Yeah, so our labs are set up differently because they're 3 different spaces. They're very different, but they do the exact same thing. And so when we get laptops in from corporate, we do an intake process to, first of all, what did we get? Make sure we're recording that so that, you know, we keep track of all that. But then going through those laptops and doing kind of an initial assessment to say, these are laptops that meet our current standards, meaning kind of age, if you will, processors, operating systems, things like that, tech things that we, you know, have to deal with. And so once we get that, then they hit our production line. And our production line is basically 5 steps. And so we have 5 tables back here, and every table is a step in the process, right? So it starts out with cleaning. Ultimately, we're going to open that up, make sure batteries look okay, fans are good. They turn them on. They're checking to make sure speakers are working, cameras, mics. We do licensing where we put, you know, a Windows 11 license on them. We put our image on them. An image is when you turn your computer on, and that's what you're looking at. That's an image. And so it's that Windows 11 license. It's various softwares that we put on it, like Zoom. And then at the end, it goes through just kind of a final quality check to make sure. It goes through quality checks multiple times throughout the process because we want to make sure that we're not putting a Windows license on something that ultimately is going to fail. So we're doing them throughout, but then it goes through one final one, goes on a good to go shelf, and waits for somebody like Dr. Oliver and his team with the CITIP program to come and say, hey, we're looking for 20 laptops. And then we go grab those off the shelf, maybe put them through one more quality check depending on the time frame, the last time that, you know, a quality check was done. And then we get them out to you guys, and you guys put them out into the community and make good use of them.
And so one of the great things, another thing that's great is that when you provide the laptops, you give an extended warranty on it. So what does the warranty cover and how long does it last?
Yeah, so our laptops come with a 90-day technical warranty, and so technical means things like it won't boot up, it won't charge, speakers aren't working. As long as it's in warranty, someone can bring that back down here into this lab. We have repair specialists, and these are, I call them kids because they're all my kids' age. They probably hate it because they are young adults, but they have kind of self-taught themselves on how to, they're very techie, and they go and watch YouTube videos on how to fix these computers, and we have a whole repair station set up in here. So they'll bring it in here, take a look at it, make sure, see what they can do with it. As long as it's in that warranty period, if it can be repaired, they repair it. If it cannot be repaired, we replace it.
So can you share a little bit about how you find your young tech professionals?
Yeah. So we used to be school-based. We used to have labs on CMS campuses at West Charlotte, Garinger, South Meck, and Olympic high schools. It was a great program. We loved it. But when the pandemic hit, we knew CMS was going to shut down. And so we pulled everything out of our labs, took it up to that Cornelius location. And then ultimately Avid opened this space for us, and we were able to kind of get back to work in here. So originally when we started this program of hiring high schoolers to do this work, we were hiring from the high schools where we were located. But now we hire kind of all over. It kind of depends on how many we're looking for as well. But now we're able to go to like a Philip O'Berry where they have a lot of kids that are doing STEM and STEAM work. We are going to the Charlotte Engineering Early College where there's a lot of IT kids that want to come and work at E2D. We still get our West Charlottes and our Garingers and our South Mecks and our Olympics, but we were able to kind of broaden that a bit.
So what type of support or training development do they go through as they're hired in?
Yeah, so we kind of have like a train the trainer program. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 lab supervisors, 5 of them of whom are previous high schoolers that have graduated. Maybe they've gone to college, maybe they're in college, maybe they're not in college, that's fine. They've stuck around with us this whole time. And so we've lifted them up into this supervisor role, right? So now when we hire, those supervisors are training those kids on how to do our process. And then once you get trained and you're on the line, and now a new person comes in and maybe they get trained, but maybe they have a question, we rely on the oldies to kind of help the newbies, if you will. So it's very much train the trainer.
Okay. And so you're starting as early as what grade? K-12?
No. Well, high school, yeah, definitely. I think probably I think 15 is about the youngest that we hire. And then we've started, as you know, we want to hire some JCSU students because JCSU is right around the corner from where we are, and those students can easily walk to us. And so we're very flexible for college students because our hours are just super flexible.
So what are some of the current projects that you have going on? Current initiatives?
Well, our
I know
CITIP
one,
work.
but I didn't want to just say it.
So again, we partner with the Center for Digital Equity here in Mecklenburg County to do, they have 5 work streams. One of them is device and connectivity. We sit on that committee, and we have certain goals to meet for their fiscal year. And so they always get an allotment of laptops from us for their fiscal year, and then we work together to put those out into the community, whether it's through public distributions to our request list or working with organizations. But then Johnson C. Smith's CITIP program came about, and you guys, I know, partner with the CDE as well on this. And so it's kind of that same concept of helping organizations, but what I'm finding is that the work that we're doing with you is opening me up to organizations that I've not even heard of. And so I really like that the way that Johnson C. Smith kind of has these different relationships, if you will. And so I've had a lot of fun getting to know all these organizations that you guys work with. We also are in collaboration with Barings Bank and Habitat of the Charlotte region and the Center for Digital Equity. We are getting ready to start some work there where we are putting laptops into new home builds and helping some critical home repair clients as well. We, of course, this past year, a huge topic of interest for you and for me as well is our HBCU work that we just did. We were able to bring laptops to 6 of the 10 HBCUs in North Carolina, and the only reason the other ones we did not do is because they already had previous contracts to get laptops to their freshmen. But we took laptops to freshmen at Bennett College, JCSU, Livingstone College, Winston-Salem State, Fayetteville State, and Elizabeth City State. And let me tell you, that was a fun week. That was our HBCU week, Monday through Thursday, traveling across the state, about 2,000 laptops in 1 week. That was huge. That was a lot of fun, so we enjoyed that. And then Western North Carolina, we had already kind of had a focus on expansion into Western North Carolina. Let me start with this way. There are over 320,000 households in the whole state of North Carolina that do not have their first device.
Oh, wow.
And so we have colleagues across the state, one that's along the lines of our size, and then other smaller refurbishers that we are working with to try to combat that, to try to fix that problem. But this hurricane, I think, has definitely set some things back. So our Western North Carolina work has really kicked up in the past few weeks for this relief effort, trying to get devices to help with FEMA paperwork. But also we know people need to get back online. Like, they need to get back to working, get back to school, and potentially their laptop floated down a flood. But also something that we found out yesterday is that potentially they went to plug that laptop in and it fried it because maybe there was a power surge or something. So there's going to be a lot of need out that way. But
so you already have a presence there?
Yes, we already had a presence there. We had started kind of talking and making those partnerships, because it's very key and very important to have those community partners. And we had started doing that about probably like 2.5 years ago. And so it allowed us, when this hurricane hit, to be able to reach out to our partners that we have to make sure, number one, first and foremost, are you okay? Is your team okay? And then maybe we knew it was coming, so that very first week after the hurricane, we started kind of prepping in here for, okay, here's our kind of Charlotte normal work, but also let's kind of have some Western North Carolina stuff. And then the next week, we kind of started calling our partners again and saying, okay, we know you've got, everybody's kind of working on those basics, those essentials, right? Food, shelter, power, water, those kinds of things. But the devices, you're going to need them. And they're like, yes, FEMA paperwork. Yes, we got to get these people back online. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
What are some things that you want us to make sure we cover that we haven't already talked about?
Oh, wow. Workforce development is kind of huge for us. It's something that I mentioned, but it's going to, I think, play a much bigger thing for us in 2025. These lab techs that we hire, we want to make sure that we are giving them the opportunities that they deserve and they need. So that's going to be something that we push really big into in 2025. It's something that we've done a little bit. We have corporates that are like, we want to do a class with your kids. It'll be a 4-week thing, and we'll teach them this, this, and this. Perfect. So we've kind of done that kind of thing over the years. But we want to get these kids like partnered up with mentors for the field of study that they're looking to go into. We just really want to pull into anything we can with these guys.
So you mentioned loading the laptops with the applications, workforce development being a key component of the long-term goal, or even short-term in some cases. What are some other type of applications can the devices handle that you may be able to assist or inform people about?
So, I feel like we have very basic needs from a lot of our community partners and the people that they're serving in the general public, where, okay, just this basic laptop, right? But we had a program for a few years that was funded through the Foundation for the Carolinas, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Community Foundation Fund, where they gave us money to take more like an engineering laptop, if you will, and give them to CMS students that were in the CTE program there. What does that stand for? College and Technical, I don't know, or not. It's career and technical something. It's like a pathway. And you can like focus on IT. And so these kids are trying to do like honors coding. I don't know what AP something that's in IT. But maybe they're trying to do that on a CMS Chromebook, which they would not be able to do. CMS is great that they are one-to-one with devices with their students. But for some of these students that are trying to do these upper level courses in like IT things, that Chromebook's not gonna cut it. And so our laptops will, and we were getting them laptops that were kind of beefier, had maybe a little bit more memory, bigger screen, because they need that for the applications that they were doing for their schoolwork. And then we have people call us, I need a laptop to continue my job in graphic design. Well, a basic laptop is not gonna function well for you. You need a little bit more beefy of a laptop,
So during that initial assessment, they can identify what their need is. So they have the right device for the right need.
Yeah. Most of the time, just a basic laptop is kind of thing, but people that need more will always ask for it. They will say, I'm doing this, and so I need this. And we say, okay, so we can't cater to just everybody in Charlotte to be like, oh, okay, what kind of laptop do you want? But if somebody tells us I need, again, the graphic design always kind of comes up because that's kind of a big one. We try to cater to those people as much as we can. So
I know we have some students that received their devices through E2D for their freshman year, and some of them are going into our esports and they're gamers, and so they're asking questions like, "Is this going to be able to handle this number?" It's outside of my purview,
right?
knowing that the devices that they have can handle most of the needs that they have as incoming freshmen, and even moving into some of their coursework has been really, really powerful for them. Really
and a lot of times, especially with those people who need more, they tend to know how to do that. And so a lot of times you can just add memory, a bigger hard drive, and they would easily be able to flip that over, open it up, and do it without us. They could come work here.
We need to get them the apps.
I know, right?
We've covered a lot. Is there anything you want to ask or follow up on?
I would just like to say thank you to Johnson C. Smith, because you guys are the ones that kind of put us on this HBCU first gen. We're now kind of pulling into some first generational student work. I would like to say thank you to you guys, because you're kind of the reason we're here. We had come to you guys in 2023 to discuss hiring some of your students for this lab because you are so close. And that conversation turned into, wait a minute, you have a digital divide here at your school. What does that look like? And at the time, it was about 38% of your student population, which was about 1,000. So we did we brought last year 380 laptops to Johnson C. Smith. It was a great distribution. So many kids came. It was so fantastic. And it put our president and co-founder, Pat Millen, on a path that he was losing sleep over, that he could not believe that there were students going to college that didn't have their own device. And so that pushed us into this HBCU week that we discussed. But even before that, in the spring, we also were looking at home. How many CMS kids were graduating and going on to an HBCU and didn't have a laptop? And how could we kind of meld all this together so we're helping as many HBCU students as possible? And so we came up with some data, and in the spring we distributed about 700 laptops to CMS graduates that were attending an HBCU in the fall. Any HBCU, not just North Carolina. So I think we had over 35 HBCUs represented in that pool of 700. That was really great.
Nice.
So it's our first conversations with Johnson C. Smith have turned into all of this. And our future definitely lies in this first generational student work within North Carolina. So we're really excited about it. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it's exciting. So we've been taking that first gen and we've extended to a two-generation approach. So many of the students that we're working with that are in need, we're finding that their families are also in need. So if you're thinking of our CMS students having a device that was distributed to them by the school district, many times those parents were also in need of using a device. And so what we're doing with our faith-based community is saying, well, who are the young people you're working with, and do their parents have a device?
Right.
So we're trying to make sure like it's a one-to-one for sure, and really leading into, if a parent has access, then that allows them to skill up, that allows them to utilize resources, that allows them to use it for entertainment and relaxation. It's so many areas that the devices overlap.
Yes.
And so capturing that first generation student, and then also realizing that they're first generation students, there may be a family member who is also in need. So how can we connect them, especially if they're within our 10-mile, 15-mile radius of Johnson Smith?
100%. Yeah, we kind of talk about that, like regarding those CMS Chromebooks. Again, so proud of all school systems that are one-to-one with their kids, but those Chromebooks are very locked down, and so the parents can't use them to do anything. So it's definitely a homework solution for that student and a really great option for that. But like if that parent is needing to find a job or do some online banking or have a telehealth appointment, they weren't able to do that. So we didn't move away from schools and students in the pandemic, but it definitely kind of pivoted our focus a little bit, just in terms of, instead of focusing on the student, we focus on everybody. We focus on the family. We focus on individuals. We had so many people in the pandemic coming to us saying, I don't have a kid, but I need a laptop. I'm not going to say no to that, So it definitely turned us in not a different direction, but it branched us out, if you will. So
it's an economic vehicle also.
Yeah.
It's like if you're thinking of it as The more people who have access to a device
Yes.
allows them to utilize the systems that are in place, allows them to make orders, allows them to have appointments.
Right.
It's an economic driving force as well.
100%.
And then, of course, it can lead to workforce development. So
Yeah,
it's a lot of layers and things that we're covering with this, and we're just excited to be partners with you all.
Yeah, we are too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking to see what happens next.
Yeah. Awesome.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Thank
We're
you
here
so much.
at E2D, Eliminate the Digital Divide. This is John Oliver, Johnson C. Smith University, Project Manager for Charlotte's Inclusive Tech Innovation Pilot. And we're out.